Greetings, everybody. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I did. And clearly, I've got all my pieces and parts, so it must have been safe. And I hope you all had a safe and sane one as well. All right. Everybody else who doesn't do 4th of July, I hope whatever you did yesterday was fun. Okay. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Dungeoneering Survival Guide. Why do you need it? Well, because if you do D&D, you traditionally spend quite a bit of time in the dungeons. Caves and ruins and things, right? Underground. Heck, there's a whole hollow earth setting. So, this book has a little bit of everything. Like, I gotta show you. It's got a whole section on, like, the motivations of, like, different races underground, like the drow, just the Kotal, the mind flayers. Got little splurbs, write-ups on that, so you can, and others, so you can do that. It has a whole thing on mapping for you, the GM. Ever wondered how to do it? They explain how to do it old school. If you don't got the programs, can't figure out how to make the programs, don't want to download that stuff, they tell you everything you need. Show you pictures. I mean, you're like, well, I'm smart enough. I knew that. Okay, yeah, but, you know, they were thorough. And that's not the only thing they were thorough on in here. There's actual maps where they show the layering of, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So there you go, all the way up to the surface. And they also have a side view map in here as well to kind of show you a different way of thinking about it. For some of you that are more like this is fine too, I should point out. As long as you, the GM, knows what's going on, whatever visual aid you need, you know, do it the way that works for you. It's got lots of charts, tables, all that kind of stuff, but it has really, really good information. Like, what if your players are on a raft in the underground sea and it's pitch black? How are they going to handle navigating? Talks about that. Holding one's breath. Has a whole way of figuring out how long a player character can hold their breath. So you can do it arbitrarily, or you could have this slightly more finessed system. Moving water, moving moving water. You know, rates of climbing. Talks about different kinds of surfaces, how that should affect the difficulty. Jumping, using rope, bridges, impromptu bridges, splunking. Dude, and the reason I'm bringing this up is fatigue, exhaustion. All these things are in here. I mean, they have a whole section on geology, even, you know, understanding the, you know, what the environment is like underground, things that are in it. And you guys may not be aware of this, but when you go into a cave or mine that's underground, yes, it's initially cooler at the surface. So your surface layers are usually the cooler parts of an underground environment. But then the deeper you go, at some point you hit this point where the temperature starts rising. And if you don't have to take my word, go learn about diamond mines in like Zaire and South Africa, and go look up how hot it is in the deepest diamond mines for the workers. You're going to be surprised. It also tells you exactly how hot, you know, that molten stuff is that your players might encounter underground, yeah, that's not a survivable thing to fall into. I don't care how many hit points you have, or body points, or how many attributes, however your system works. And that's why this has so much information. It's just crazy, and things to think about. But they're all good things from a referee and a gameplay perspective if you're going to have people going underground. I actually have a Star Frontiers module that this would be fun to start applying some of the concepts in here too, because there's a whole underground section. But I'm going to start out my people in Frontier Space. Star Frontiers can be easily converted to Frontier Space rules. Yes, they can. Frontier Space, they're actually starting underground on the moon, but they're starting underground. So I'll be looking through here and deciding they're doing the reverse. They're not going into a dungeon. You got to get out of a dungeon. How I want to do that dungeon crawl and what artificial and natural things I want to add to it. I mean, obviously I've got the moon base, which is underground, so that's artificial. But what about natural things? Like I could easily add caverns and things like that to the possible adventure. And I could add moon life forms or whatever, you know. It's sci-fi fantasy, right? Or as I call it, bubblegum space opera time. But yes, and you need to decide. If you're skill-based, which I still argue classes are, it's just they're not well understood, so people don't think about it. Classes are a group of skills. And a lot of times when I look up skills, they're actually a group of skills under a main skill heading. Sometimes you have to do them as more specialized skills, like you got to choose, and then other times, no, you like everything covered underneath that you can do. So, just saying. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, you know? Or sometimes it's very specific, like herbs. Oh my gosh, like herbs. That's too micromanaged. But they have splunking. Just because your character, somebody's character knows how to survive in a forest or a desert or the tundra, does not mean they have any clue how to do splunking any more than they have any clue how to go deep sea diving. You know, just because they're awesome in a desert setting where there's no water does not mean that they can swim. You see what I'm saying? These are things you need to decide how you're going to handle as a referee. And I think this book is actually, having had a chance to look through it and start thinking about things, sunken swamp. I mean, I got all kinds of cool stuff to think about. How to deal with cave-ins. Just to get the brain working, you don't even need to be using D&D. Now, anything like this is optional. Charts, rules, tables. I want to point that out. There will be and can be in any game system conflicting rules even that are published. And so then people are like, what do I do? Well, pick the ones you like the best or make up your own. That's what you do. You never have to use a table if you don't want to. You never have to use a chart if you don't want to. There are options. You never have to use a rule. Just be aware. Changing rules and what you're dealing with there. But I wanted to bring this up because I don't think people put enough thought into the underground world that they're sending people into. And this is a good resource, actually. Good things to think about. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment. Tell me how I'm doing. I should probably pick like a specific thing to go through and just like start cherry picking out stuff to share. So you guys can think about. But yeah, how long can the PCs hold?